All right, so cold open.
Cold
We're
open.
getting close, 2 minutes.
We're just gonna jump right into it. I'm not doing any bits this.
Yeah, this is a
This
bitless.
time.
I'm super against bits.
Yeah, Connor said if you do a bit, I'm gonna have a fit. So
This is a bit.
good evening, Gold Stars. Today is November 20th, 2019. We're all friends here. I'm your host, Dom Gold, and this is the Dom Gold Update. So, we have a guest, a new guest. We had a guest last week. We had Jab. Who do we have today?
Hi, I'm Connor. Is my name.
Connor's your name? What's
Speeve.
your game?
Speeve.
At Speeve.
On
Go
Twitter.
ahead and throw those handles out.
Yeah, Speeve on Twitter.
We're gonna
Join my 10 followers.
We're gonna christen off this cast by trying some holiday beverages. We're getting into the holidays now. We've got, this isn't sponsored, but I wanted to try them. They've got the cinnamon Coke. They've got the Sprite Spice Cranberry. LeBron James is really bringing it back this year. So I think we got to give these a taste to christen off the cast. We've got a lot of things to talk about today. Connor's a newcomer when it comes to anime and conventions and social media even. But he has begun his journey, his deep dive into all of this culture. And we're going to hear his thoughts. He's been to one convention so far. He is already planning his next one. And we're going to hear a lot about what he has to say. But first, let's christen it off with these holiday beverages. That was a crisp sound. All right, we're gonna do this. All right, so first thoughts.
Awful.
It tastes like Coca-Cola, but if I was standing really close to one of those cinnamon brooms, like real close.
Hold on.
All right. Here, wait, we gotta do it again.
Okay, here we go.
That's a Sprite cranberry.
That's better than the Sprite cranberry one.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
because you were so against the cinnamon Coke.
I don't really like
You said
cinnamon.
I'm not. The cinnamon Coke is
flavored.
all yours,
I'm
and I
going
said,
back for it, I'm going.
okay. Well, I got the one I wanted. Sprite cranberry.
Yeah, no, that's I actually enjoy that a lot.
Oh, we have an audience member trying to steal our drinks. So let's get into it. Before we talk about Connor's experiences and thoughts and concerns about all this crazy culture and social media coming at him real quick, like a NASCAR, we're going to talk about Song of the Week, which is actually more of an artist highlight.
It's very, very strange.
Yeah, how did you, because you're the one who showed me the one song that you knew.
I'm very into this group called Clipping.
Okay.
And I was listening to a playlist, and then this song, I couldn't understand the name because it was in Russian, but the name of the band is, or the rapper, I guess, is Ice Peak.
Ice Peak.
And it's very...
Icy 3 Peak.
It's very strange, but very, like, very Billie Eilish, Death Grips.
D'Antwoord.
D'Antwoord.
I get like D'Antwoord Death Grips vibes from them.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. Like you showed me the one song and we were just like, let's dive deep down into this. And then the whole night I was just driving around my car like blasting Ice Peak. My favorite song that came up from theirs, excuse my Russian. I only learned Russian for like maybe 3 months. So I just got a grasp on the Cyrillic alphabet and then I forgot it completely. But it's called Grisna Suka. That's probably awful, but it means sad bitch. And it bumps. That song bumps hard. So I've really been enjoying Ice Peak. I think they're cool. Maybe the next D'Antwoord, since D'Antwoord got kind of canceled by the internet a little
What do you
bit.
mean they got canceled by the internet?
Oh, there's a whole controversy
Whole
with
thing
them.
got
Yeah,
it.
I don't want to. That's a can of worms I'm not going to open. But if you want to look at, check out Ice Peak. I heard one of their, so they do have a few songs in English. The one song I heard, I forget what it's called. It's like World Is Something. And I heard it and I recognized it from TikTok. And little did I know is I was right. Because somebody, coincidentally enough, somebody sent me the first TikTok to use that Ice Peak song today. Because it was like someone spray painting a jacket. And they're like, oh, this reminds me of you. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Ice Peak song. I'm going to talk about that later today. But yeah, I really like them. I think they're great. I gotta learn more about them. I don't know too much about them, but I like what they're doing. It's good stuff. So
I've actually got one of their videos queued up, but
Oh.
I don't know if you wanted to
Oh,
break
okay.
into international copyright law.
I just had that in there to kind of show how hype their concerts get. If you've never been to like a hype like rap show before, like hip hop rap show, I recommend it. I've been to a Death Grip show. I've been to a D'Antwoord show. I've been to several shows like this, and they're always like the most intense crowds.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a bunch of people that are passionate about the...
Yeah, it's an obscure
people
artist.
that are there for this obscure
So
artist.
it's like, this is my one chance to see this artist because they don't tour a lot. They're not that big. I'm in love with them. I'm going to scream all of my organs out of my head because this artist is here. Watching their performance kind of reminded me of when I saw Boy Harsher. It was like a similar... Now, Boy Harsher's different types of music, but they are very experimental, kind of in not the same genre of music, but in the same vibe, I guess. And so their concert was very much the same energy.
Do you want me to play them?
Yeah, you can play it a little bit, just to see how they are, see how
Play it for the
hyped they
people.
get. Play for the people.
Oh,
And this is a video of their of
Live.
Grisna Suka.
Yeah.
I'm probably butchering that horribly.
Look at him go.
I speak. Everyone in the chat.
speak.
I speak. I speak. I speak. I speak. I speak.
Yeah.
We're at the show. I don't even have to go anywhere. I was at Alice Cooper's show last week.
No bits.
Yeah, I was at Alice Cooper's show last week, and now we're at a Nice Peak show. It's great.
Oh.
Oh, that's right. Connor's got a thing against bits.
I'm a no bit.
No bit. But hear that audience. They're all into it. I hope we have some Russian viewers out there. Like, the energy from that crowd. So great. But let's move on, because Connor, you and I consume a lot of different media together. We would go to see movies, we go to theme parks, which we're going to get into theme parks later in the cast. We're both very passionate about that. But we just saw a really interesting film recently.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk about it a bit. It's called Jojo Rabbit.
Yes.
If you haven't heard of it, it's Taika Waititi's new film. He's the guy who did Thor Ragnarok. I'm not actually too familiar with his filmography, but he's been in a lot. What did he do?
What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows? Okay, thank you, audience member. We have a live audience now. We're the Dom Gold update is recorded in front of a live studio audience. Cue laugh track. All right, that was weak. Oh, there we go.
Hell yeah. All right.
All right. Yeah.
Those are some strange laughters.
Yeah. So, Jojo Rabbit. Now, I understand people's, I guess, off-putness to the idea at first because it covers a very, very sensitive topic of World War II Germany and the Holocaust.
It took a while to... So it came out like a month ago.
Yeah,
like
it took
October 22nd, 20-something. And it took a while for it to come to theaters. It's not the biggest movie ever. And I don't know if it's because of
I think it almost had an indie film budget, but because Taika Waititi is like such a big name, they were like, oh, well, we can get this in theaters. So it took it a while to get to us, because it came out like a month ago, but it wasn't until like last week that it came to a theater near us. And I think it's only going to be playing for like a week or so. Like it's not playing that long. But it's through the eyes of a young 10-year-old boy who's in the midst of Nazi Germany.
Towards the last couple months.
Yeah, the last couple months. So
The good part where the good guys win.
yeah, exactly.
The part where the good guys win.
And you're seeing
unless you're Jojo Rabbit in the movie.
Yeah, and you're seeing it through the eyes of an innocent child who happens to be
Hitler Youth program.
Right.
Yeah.
And just how this child perceives it. And Taika Waititi actually plays his imaginary friend Hitler.
Yeah.
And it shows how the innocence of a young boy could view a character as someone like that in a positive light. But it does it very tastefully, and it does it to deliver such a strong message because there's heavy points of the film.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That are like, okay, this isn't all fun and games. This is real. This happened. And the plot of the movie carries out where this young boy who is in full spirit of the Nazi party learns that he has a Jewish girl hiding in his attic. And it shows them building kind of a friendship.
It's breaking down like what he has learned growing up and going through the Hitler Youth, what he's learned Jews are like compared to what they are. And she kind of toys with that idea for a little bit because he's a 10-year-old boy and she's, afraid of what might happen if, other people find out.
Right.
But it's a very well done movie.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. It was very wholesome.
I cried. I'll just say that right out there. I cried.
The ending of the movie was extremely wholesome. I don't want to.
I don't want to spoil this film because I highly recommend everyone to go see it.
Scarlett Johansson's fantastic, and they happen to have gotten for the lead actor the cutest kid possible.
He's the cutest kid.
The cutest kid in the world.
And he's a really good actor, too.
Yeah,
he's very convincing.
Everyone's great. Stephen Merchant was great. Everyone was phenomenal.
So, if I could chime in.
Yeah, of course.
So it's kind of like the question at this point is like, okay, you're doing a very controversial subject. Does the extent to which the themes are explored and new valuable insights are provided justify the risk of like offending people? Do you think it passes that test where it's like,
yes,
this is worth it?
I do. Yeah, I do.
And it doesn't seem like it makes any attempts to offend people, but
No,
just
because
the idea.
it paints the Nazis as complete asshats, obviously.
It makes them because in the movie, you know, they're trying to be genuine about their beliefs.
Right.
I go in quotes, and just like looking in and like knowing that some of these things that they're actually talking about is what they actually preach, and it's ridiculous their mentality and how they, you know, it was very tastefully done.
Good.
And I'm very, very happy with the result.
Well, and it's like if there was anybody trying to make that argument, you just say, well, what about Call of Duty?
Exactly. Oh my God.
Well, and that's the thing is, I think people were worried that it was going to make light of the situation, which it doesn't. It makes It doesn't make light of the it doesn't make the situation
it's a tragic
light.
movie. There's tragic scenes in
tragic.
the movie, and it makes you like feel for these characters and sympathize with these characters. Not that, you know,
it gets you caught up in the I guess the ideas and thoughts and feelings of someone who was caught up in all of this propaganda, because it's like, oh, it's all fun and games and it's funny, and then it hits you in with a hammer at some points in the movie, like, oh no, this isn't funny, like, wake up.
It is very nice to consume like this era of like knowing how tragic and horrible this time was.
Yeah,
it is nice to leave a theater about this, like feeling wholesome, like feeling like
glad I don't live there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad I don't live in this time. But it really made some of the people that went to go see the movie with, like, you know, spend more time with each other, because it's like it makes you, like, you know, cherish like what you have, because it's like people went through like horrible tragic events. Yeah. But like these two characters that like the little boy and the little girl, it's phenomenal, their chemistry, and like how, you know, he's come to learn, you know, to act and like how they're just normal people, you know. It's a phenomenal movie. If it's showing near you, I highly recommend it. It is really, really great.
Cool. We actually have our chat visible this week, which is incredible. We've got SpriteCranberry.net, thank you. We've got a recommendation for a band called Palais Royale.
Palais Royale.
Fashion art rock.
I've heard that name before.
It sounds familiar. I'll have to look into them. That sounds good. Thank you, Megan the Fencer. I hope you're out there building a lot of fences. That's a good thing for farmers to keep their cattle in so they don't get away.
And or practicing the art of swordsmanship.
Yeah.
Or swordswomanship.
Well, I hope that they do both. I hope they are a fencer that does fencing.
Yeah, diversify.
Yeah.
Diversify your income.
The fencing fencers.
Hey, there was an expo that happened recently.
An expo? Like a fencing expo?
No, it was like the EXP expo.
Yeah. So that brings us into our next topic. Connor.
There's a transition music.
I like that. Actually,
do it again.
Yeah.
Well, we're not transitioning though. Do I have override? I can.
You do whatever you want, man.
Transition. So, Connor, EXPCon happened a few months ago.
Yeah.
And this was your first introduction to conventions.
Yeah, I went to one a while ago when I was younger, and I don't remember a lot of it.
What, do you remember what the one was that you went to?
It was AWA.
Oh, you actually did go to AWA.
Time ago, but I was very young, and I don't remember a lot of what was going on. I remember I went to a Death Note event. There, and they were like trying to figure out who the murderer was, and it was like that guy. Oh. It's him. And
like, it was Light Yagami. Oh, no spoilers.
No,
I'm sorry.
But they were like, but it's not. It's someone else. Like, it's that guy.
It's the audience. The audience was the murderer.
It was us the whole time.
Yeah.
No, so I went to EXPCon. I, got a hotel room, and immediately, right off the bat, first impression, I was having issues.
That's the wrong hotel.
Marriott.
That's not no. That's our next con that we're gonna come to.
Yeah. Don't look at that. Stop looking.
It's something.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm cheating ahead.
Who was looking at that?
I'm cheating ahead.
So they, to their credit, it was a good convention. Let me just say, it was a nice convention. It was very small, but everybody that I spoke to was super nice.
EXPCon's special.
It's small, but when I mean small, there's like 20 people, maybe. like walking around. But it was everyone was super cool, everyone was super polite, everyone was super nice, everyone was very passionate. It started off on the wrong foot because their schedule wasn't released until the day of, and
that's good sometimes though. You want a little surprise.
Yeah, but I had the feeling that it like turned a lot of people off, or like a lot of people were confused about it. I bought I got a hotel room there, and they're like closer to the date, I get an email and it's like, hey, we actually don't have the room available. We're gonna upgrade you to this nicer room. We won't charge you. And I was like, cool. Then I decided I headed up and like I went there early and I wanted to do check-in. I tried to do early check-in around like 11 o'clock, and they were like, yeah, your room's not ready, come back at a later point. So I started to walk around and I started to meet some of the people. I met some very cool people. Dominic actually showed up.
I did actually show up.
Yeah, and him and I walked around. He introduced me to some more people, so I wasn't there. I'm there alone, by the way. I'm at my first convention completely alone.
I introduced you to Jab, our guest from last week.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about anime. I don't know a lot about cosplay. So like trying to get into that world was a little difficult being by myself, but it became more comfortable when I started talking to more people and getting introduced.
And I feel like that's what cons are all about. It's just talking to other people.
It's intimidating. It's intimidating, like from the outside looking in, because of there's like a negative connotation about cons, I guess, when it comes to like, there's a lot of people and it's very packed. And like it doesn't seem super intimate, but like I feel like the more I've learned from the experiences that you go through, it's very nice places to be, and everyone's respectful and wonderful.
Yeah,
and I like it. It's very wonderful seeing, like, especially coming up in December,
Hallmat, which is going to be a really interesting experience for you, coming from only seeing what EXPCon was, which was a very small con.
Which got weird,
Which Hallmat's going to be a pretty loaded convention.
Yeah, so we go and we, see Mega 64.
At EXPCon, yeah.
Yeah, and after that, we decided to go walk around. Around like 4 o'clock, I finally decided to go see if my room is ready. And they're like, hey, sorry, your room's still not ready. The guy that was previously in the room that we gave you, or are giving you, left all of his stuff there. So he has to come back and pick up all of his stuff.
Oh my God.
And then they were like, we can take you to a different room. And I was like, I want that room.
I want the free upgrade.
It's nice. I want the free upgrade. And then they were like, okay, just wait. And so I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that.
Just as a pointer, EXPCon is at the World Golf Resort, too.
So, right across from Caddyshack.
It's a really interesting mix of cultures, and that's what we always talk about on this show, is the mixing of culture. And I think that's what anime really does for the world. I mean, Western and Eastern cultures always throwing ideas back and forth. We got these conventions that are always throwing ideas around in a pot. We've got EXPCon throwing Bill Murray in with the voice actor of Kratos. Who knew that would happen? So I think
and all of the panels, like obviously they had like 7 to 8 people in them.
Yeah,
and a lot of the voice actors that were there and a lot of the panelists, they would just kind of sit down in the audience and like form circles with their chairs, so it's more intimate with these people. So you were really having one-on-one conversations with like the voice of like Kratos, and it's super cool. Like it's not some big room.
Yeah, and I think people overlook the beauty of small conventions like that, because it's like at a large convention like MegaCon or Comic-Con or something, like you're not going to have a round table discussion from the voice actor of a game that you've spent like hundreds of hours playing.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that at a large event like that. You're going to be in the back of a room. They're going to answer a few filtered questions.
Yeah.
And that's it. So,
yeah.
Small conventions are a beauty. Yeah. So overall, what would you say to someone trying to go to their first con out of your experience from that?
So it got throughout the whole night, it got a little weird, but it was pretty nice at the end of the day. I would say it might be intimidating, but if you take that step towards
take the leap.
Going and getting out of your shell, you don't have to jump into cosplaying immediately. You can just wear it.
Just go and be yourself.
Go make friends. Like, don't be afraid to talk to people. Because at the end of the day, it's fun. They finally gave me my room at 7
p.m.?
7 p.m.
The day you were supposed to check in.
Yeah. And so then they were like, well, so that room is still unavailable. So we're going to upgrade you.
They upgraded you again?
Yeah, they upgraded me to it's the nicest room that I could possibly have. It's on the top floor.
Presidential suite?
No, it wasn't like a presidential suite.
But like just under what?
It was a very nice and like the king suite or something. I don't remember. But I moved up there. I'm on like the floor with where I assume all the voice actors are, because the nights are like top floors. And I felt very important. But then I walked into my room and sat on my bed and just stared, because like I was in this nice room, like all by myself. I had a lot of liquor. I brought a ton of beer and liquor with me because I was like, you know what, it's a convention. I want to, you want to party. I want to like party and socialize with people.
Socialize party. Time.
I was by myself, so it was very sad. I took a nap, went back down, and someone was performing. Mega Ran was performing, and he was down like rapping with everybody, and like there was like 15 people there. Cool. And Najab and I look at each other, and I'm like, you know what this could need? Like, you know what this needs? So we go up to my room, and I just grab all of my handles, like all the liquor that I brought, and we just go and we just set them down. And I'm like, do you want? And everybody was like, yeah, okay, yeah. So people just started drinking out of the handles, and then next thing you know, we're all, a little
You got the entire
tipsy.
Convention?
No. By the entire convention, you mean 5 people.
Well, the entire convention.
Yeah. We ended up doing karaoke, like late night karaoke at like midnight, 1 a.m. And it was super cool. I got to I feel like that was the highlight. 100% is not necessarily being intoxicated.
Yeah.
Though that helps. It was being around all of these people that had similar interests to me.
Right.
And they're all helping me understand
that type of environment. Right.
Because I come from a place where I don't necessarily understand other people's mentalities when it comes to certain things. Or like a lot of convention people have like specific personalities, and like other stuff like that, strong personalities. And I'm trying to learn to, like vibe with those personalities.
Yeah.
I want to be nice to people. I want to be inclusive to people.
Conventions for me have definitely been a space to learn how to vibe with different types of people. Are you playing with my chroma keyed shirt?
I am doing you a solid.
Oh, thanks for that solid. But yeah, conventions, I totally have learned about all different types of people and how to like get along with all different types of people. And I myself feel like I've never had a problem getting along with different types of people, but conventions have definitely thrown me in that situation. It's like, whoa, I've never encountered a person like this before with this type of personality. How do I engage in a social setting with this type of person? And it's a learning experience, and I feel like that goes kind of gets overlooked.
Yeah, I'm a little anxious about what's going to happen at home because I go from my first convention, which has 20 people max, to a convention that presumably is going to have tons and tons of people.
Hundreds.
Yeah, and I'm just, it's a little, like I said, I'm a little anxious about like being around all these people. Thankfully, I'll have you and other people that I'm familiar with that'll help me, ease into that environment, which it is always nice to have somebody that'll help you get into that scene.
Yeah. And
if you do it alone, you more than welcome to. It's a nice. I'm upset that I didn't do it earlier. I'm upset that I haven't decided to start going to these conventions earlier because it's. I don't know. They're very wholesome. They're very nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
Wholesome's a good word for it. And it ties into what I said last week about how I really feel. Obviously, the type of people that you go with. Like, if you go with a good group, even if the event itself is a total flop, you're going to have a good time because you're going to be with these good people, you're going to have these experiences, you're going to make your own inside jokes, and it's going to be great. But also, to your experience, definitely just because you don't have a big group of people, don't let that deter you from going.
It doesn't mean you can't have a good time.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean you can't have a good time, and it doesn't mean that you can't go to these events and meet some of your best friends that you're going to have for the rest of your life that you are going to go to these events with.
I made a Twitter because of EXPCon.
Yeah, look how you've opened up. Now you're diving into social media.
No one has cell phones, so everybody was getting my Twitter.
How has that been for you, kind of diving into this medium of Twitter?
So, being honest, I have the need to want to post on Twitter because I feel like now that I own one, I have to.
It's like an obligation.
Yeah, it's like an obligation, but it also gives me the sense of like, it is a little more stressful because now it's something else I have to keep checking or something else that I have to worry about. Like, I only have 10 followers. But even with the small amount of people that are following me at the moment, it's like I pay attention to every single one of them.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to tweet something out.
Are you following all the people that follow you?
Except for one.
Oh, except for one. See,
and that's my mom.
There you go. You're not following your mom. How would you not follow your mom?
Because I don't want to.
Oh.
Yeah. Speaking of, I wanted to.
You know how you could get followers? Is if everybody listening to the sound of my voice followed you right now on Twitter.
And by the way, he has the nicest voice.
Yeah. Shouts out to Taylor for having such a nice voice.
Well,
and nothing else going for him. All right.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
I just sold a lot of Tupperware on QVC back in 2007. So I really developed a voice for sales.
I love it. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
So kind of... We're going to talk about some of our other interests and some of the other media we've consumed later in the cast. But Taylor, since you chimed in, you were telling me about this UFC fighter that likes anime. Talk about like all kinds of people that go to cons.
Yeah.
A UFC fighter?
You hear about nerdy celebrities, but this is a little different.
This is a guy that punches
This is a guy
people.
that beats the shit out of people.
I'm usually the person getting punched because I like anime and stuff.
He is.
So
it's playing up stereotypes.
There I was. This might be a difficult image to conjure in your mind, but there I was at a bar with my friend, and we were chatting back and forth.
You left this room?
Yeah. There was the one time where I was able to do that. But otherwise, I'm chained to this desk. So yeah, I was at this bar. This for the one time I was able to leave, and my buddy was like, "Hey man, what do you do in your life right now?" And he knew, so I was like, "Dude,
nothing."
And then I was, "Why do you have to ask me a question? I'm not at this bar to talk to you." But he was like, "Okay, we have to talk at some point." So I was like, "Yeah, I'm doing this show with this guy who's really into anime," and he was like, "Oh, I don't know anything about anime except for I love UFC, and then there's this guy who's into it, so we can roll a clip." And we could just dive right into it as if we were at that bar. Yeah. And my friend. Do you know this
guy's name off the top of
your head? His name is Israel something.
Yeah, I just know him as the Style Bender.
Yeah,
Israel Adesina. It might say it in the video, so we'll roll the clip.
Courtesy of I think I ripped this clip from a YouTube channel called Zima. I think.
And if UFC shuts us down, then we'll come right back up. But I don't.
Dano has enough money.
Yeah, I'll just gate the audio in case it.
Tom Cruise fight.
Take notice. Notice me, senpai. Notice me. Look, I've been drilling these for a long time. These are not fake hand signs. These are for weeboos, all the anime nerds. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, they keep saying, "Oh, that bullshit, just fucking doing stupid hand signs." Like, I drill these things.
He's a driller. He's for real.
I'm gonna get deep. There's a famous anime worldwide, and got into it by watching the Rock Lee versus Gaara fight, and that was
iconic,
episode 48.
Absolutely iconic
eventually,
fight.
He knows his anime.
A bit later, I started watching the series. So even at the weigh-ins, when I hit the Rock Lee stance, that was the one I hit. He stood there with his arms folded like Gaara, and I don't even think he knows who Gaara is. So then I posted this morning, like I got my crew, Black Print FX and Cut Craft. Shout out to those guys because
Name drop.
they can do it on the dime, and they just kind of hit this highlight up of just me and Rock Lee stands and him as
Oh, that's
Gara.
actually great.
And just the similarity, like it was just supposed to be that way. For me, it was cool, and I'm like, man, I'm playing this shit for real.
I'm surprised he doesn't
I've
take
seen
his
these
weights
things. I've seen
off
these things
before he
so,
fights. Drop them out like Rock Lee does. That's cool. Breaking down a stereotypes.
Cool guy. Yeah. There's some, I forgot her first name, but her last name is Modafferi, and she wears like the Goku Super Saiyan.
Is she a fighter? Or?
Yeah, she's a fighter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's a lover though too.
Oh,
She doesn't just fight; she also
Oh yeah.
loves.
Oh yeah. You have to, like I said, the counterbalance.
Yeah, I know like Samuel Jackson has said things about anime.
And hentai and
Yeah, stuff like that.
and then like the nerdier celebrities like Henry Cavill and
Henry Cavill's like
he's a super nerd. Yeah.
The fact that I heard that when he got the call that he got the role of Superman and he ignored the call because he was in the middle of a WoW dungeon, that cracked me up. That's so good.
Yeah, he was doing a raid in WoW. And
Okay, I'm not a WoW player, so I'm not familiar with the terminology.
He gets a call, and he picks up his phone, and then he has to put his phone down because he's in the middle of an encounter. So he puts his phone down, he finishes the raid, then he calls back. Yeah, which is very, very cool.
Cool stuff. I love when celebrities really are open about their interests, and it shows the world that they're just like you and me. They're just people. We're all just
Speaking
people.
about celebrities,
Disney.
Disney.
What kind of Disney?
Disney. So on Disney Plus, there's a new. There's a show.
Oh, okay, yeah. We were watching this all day today.
Yes.
The Imagineering. What's it called again?
I just wanted to get right. I wanted to get into it because it's super good.
Let's get in.
It's like Imagineering story, Disney Imagineering story, and it's about it's kind of chronological about.
I liked that pacing when watching.
Yeah.
So there's 2 episodes of it out right now. I
so
believe.
far, as of right now, yes, and it's about like the construction and how the Disney parks came to be.
Right.
And it's super, super in depth and it has interviews with a lot of these fantastic Imagineers.
You see a lot of like behind the scenes. Honestly, though, when I was watching it and they showed the guy who developed the Matterhorn,
Bob Iger. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. Yeah. I might know stuff. Can you fact check that?
Bob Iger did what was it?
Matterhorn.
No,
Fact check.
Who designed the Matterhorn?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna run you through a.
It's too late now.
A whole
but
loop.
but it's
Anyways, the guy
Yeah.
who developed the Matterhorn and seeing him go and revisit it and like talk about how he created this attraction, and it was like I was surprised to hear it was the first steel tube roller coaster like ever.
Yeah.
And that was incredible to me alone. And then he signed it this year for this
So
documentary.
inside the Matterhorn is like a little basketball hoop, and that's like a little lounge.
Not a
area.
court.
It's
Like
not
the
a court.
rumor
It's not a
is.
full court.
There's-
It's like a.
The rumor is that there's a full basketball court.
But it's just a little hoop, and then there's a wall, and it has signatures of every employee that has worked the Matterhorn, and he didn't sign it because he left it to the people that have worked it to
All the
sign
cast members, yeah.
And so in the video, he's like, "Yes, I think I deserve to sign it," and he signs it, and it's actually very emotional because this man,
I almost teared up.
yeah, it was very emotional. Like this guy created this fantastic creation, this fantastic ride, and was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna let other people have credit too, like let these people that work here have that memory that they also were a part of this. Like signing your name as you are now a part of that experience." I highly, highly recommend the Imagineering story.
Yeah, if you've got Disney Plus, that definitely got to add that to your watch list.
They talk in depth about like theming for rides.
Yeah, theming is so important, and it
Yes.
gets overlooked
Yeah.
by so many people. And just putting people in that environment, not just showcasing the story, but putting them in the shoes of someone that was there, and just the atmosphere of it all. I mean, even this is important for films.
Yeah.
This is
Oh, yeah.
important. I mean, even tying it back into like anime and cosplayers as far as really making it authentic. And really diving into the source material and making it your own creation.
Yeah.
Because they were talking about where they got the ideas for all these different lands and all these different cultures they wanted to include, and I don't know, it's real inspiring stuff.
Out of all the rides that you have been on,
Okay.
at Disney parks, Universal
Any
parks,
Disney park,
or
Universal,
Universal
okay.
parks, what do you think, going in queue wise as well, is the best themed ride? Like going through the queue, the most immersive to you, or the most like technically like, wow, this is super interesting.
I mean, Haunted Mansion's always the first one to come up for me.
Because the elevator and the stretching room is super cool. And
Yeah.
it's like a queue, but it's also like.
Well, I mean,
trying to
even
keep
like
you
the
into it.
outside line when you're in the graveyard, you're just like, oh, I'm in a graveyard,
Yeah,
and then they
it's-
lead you
it's
into the
kind
house.
of relatively interactive now outside.
Yeah. Well, I love the whole concept of there's a point in the line where you're led into somewhere. So it no longer feels like a line. Like there's and a bunch of rides do this. Like even Galaxy's Edge now with the Smuggler's Run, they lead you into this room where Hondo Onaka talks to you. And I know I haven't talked about Star Wars since like a week ago. It's been so long since I've talked about Star Wars, but we'll get to Star Wars. We've got a lot to say about that this week as well. But I love that whole idea of just like breaking down the barriers, and even Universal Parks do this with the Gringotts ride. And they bring that now what's sad is you never.
By the way, that's like when you're walking through, it's super cool, super slick,
cool.
super gorgeous.
But what's sad now is that I don't think anybody gets the full experience anymore. Because when they first opened, you would go in and then you would be separated by your group and have your picture taken.
yes,
And you would do that whole process, but I think now because that's just so time consuming and holds up the line, I think you have to like ask.
rush you through.
Yeah, you have to like ask to do that if you want to. But breaking it down into these segments is just, I don't know. I love the idea of breaking you into this world. And I mean, even the park itself does that with the berm that's around Disneyland or Disney World just being so
Disney World
away.
is just so excluded from the normal society, and it's like its own world because you have to like monorail out there, and then you can monorail to the other parks from like Magic Kingdom, but it's like its own civilization,
I love
which
the
is
immersion.
which is what like Epcot originally was supposed to be its own city.
Well, yeah,
it was supposed to be its own civilization town in its own.
I really would love to see that idea executed
Yeah.
in modern. Like I don't know if it ever could be
a little Big Brothery.
It's a little Big Brothery, but I think in the right hands, it could be something very wonderful and beautiful.
It's
and
like a dome town, like a
almost an ideal society, like a model for the world, really. Because I mean, Walt Disney was so into being energy efficient, and how can we make efficiency fun and creative, and the same thing with learning. How can we be entertained and learn? And I think even in that series, they talk about how he never viewed learning and entertainment as two different things. He always saw them together. Yeah. And there's no reason why you can't have fun and learn at the same time.
It looks like Eventual Genius may have something to say about these Disneyland.
intricacies that go into designing a park like Disneyland are so complex. I cannot wait to watch that show now. Yeah, just watch the show.
And I think we had someone from our live audience here tonight was wanting to chime in.
They skipped the photo booth only during horror nights.
Oh, they only skipped it during Horror Nights. Okay, that was the last time I rode that ride, was during Halloween Horror Nights. Halloween Horror Nights does a great job of like theming their houses and everything too.
Talking about good theming, I just, out of personal bias and because I think it's the best ride in Disney, Twilight Zone, Tower Terror.
Okay, yeah.
I think their queue...
Not to flex your tattoo
not
or
to
anything.
flex the tattoo. But the queue for the ride, going into this decrepit hotel, and then like walking through... I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan, so seeing... there's a lot of different references and little Easter eggs that were put around, and then when you go into the room, and, the Rod Serling pops up, and it's the Twilight Zone intro. By the way, it's not actually Rod Serling's voice. It's someone else, but...
Oh, man.
But still, you get very immersed, and then you go through that steam room, and then you see the elevators just kind of lower down. I think, by far, that's my favorite. I'm not necessarily saying it's the best queue, but my personal favorite queue is that.
Honestly, thinking about queues now, like, I honestly don't care for the ride at all, but the Skull Island
Yeah.
King Kong ride.
Yeah.
The queue for that is incredible.
It's fantastic.
It has live actors.
They
in
have
it.
so you go through, and it's kind of like this interwoven maze through this cave system, and they have they have these indents in these cave walls, and they have these live actors that'll come out.
Yeah,
and
like the
scare
tribe
you.
members from Skull Island.
Though I do have a negative thing to say.
Oh, okay.
I was behind a family,
All right.
and it was like teenagers and above, and they were not moving because they were too scared to go past
The real actor.
the real actors,
Okay.
so they literally held the line until people behind me started getting a little upset. And I think that the inside actors understood what was happening, kind of just let them pass, because as soon as they passed, they jumped out at me. So I
They're
think
like,
they
"All right, let 'em
understood.
go." Ah!
But there's also that cool, when you're in that big kind of like rectangular room, that animatronic.
Yeah,
and,
the
how room
shaman
kind of shakes.
character.
Yeah. Oh, it's phenomenal.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of rides, what do you guys think about the Skull Island Reign of Kong ride and how that relates to the 3D version of King Kong?
So, Reign of Kong, the ride itself,
Well, are we talking about two different rides here? I'm actually a little confused.
Yeah, because we've got some graphics that are sick.
Okay.
It says Skull Island Reign of Kong.
the Reign of Kong is the
Oh,
one
you know
Universal.
what? I think this graphic right here
Yeah.
is the Universal Hollywood
Yeah, that's the
ride.
side.
Because Universal Hollywood... So what's interesting about...
It's his fault. It's his fault. Who cares?
I got them mixed up.
This is
I'm
his,
sorry.
You know what? His
My
name's on the
show-
podcast. If anyone's to blame,
Get it off the
it's
screen.
his show.
No, but
Get it off.
That's another thing. Universal Hollywood runs their whole park differently because they run every attraction as, oh, you're on a backstage tour.
Yeah, but I assume the ride itself is pretty much the same because it's you sit in this bus and it moves, it kind of like moves through the scene, and then there's giant screens that kind of surround.
And so, yeah, they took that concept.
Fast and Furious.
No.
Yeah, and they
No.
created the most beautiful line queue. A replica of the Fast and Furious film garage.
If you haven't seen it,
All the
high quality,
cars-
Oscar-winning movies. Yeah, there is not name one flaw, one bad
Not a
flaw.
single
No,
one.
Boom,
Like,
nothing done.
Even
Too late.
CGI, ludicrous, flawless.
Okay, explain to me
I will.
why every single person in the ride is like live acted. It's actually them, but there's like holograms of them.
I think The Rock's face is CG'd
It
like
is.
onto a model.
Yeah, and every person is real except for Ludacris, who for some reason is CG. Everyone is real, but CG Ludacris,
CG ludicrous.
which, if I
What's
may
his
is ludicrous.
He's ludicrous.
Yeah,
You went
it is
there.
a
You had to
ludicrous
go there.
thing to have.
But that's the other thing. The line queue is so big and so immersive, and then you get on the ride and it's miserable.
I think cars are what I know the least about, so
Well,
it's
I think
very
like
unappealing.
I don't. It's not appealing to me, but I think walking through a full size garage with all the cars from the film, that's cool.
I could
Like,
go through my garage and see a car.
That's true. I mean, again, it's not even a thing that I really enjoyed that much, but I was able to appreciate that. But then the ride was so absolutely miserable that I'm so mad that they put that ride in. It's so terrible. Yeah, like when rides end and usually everyone goes like, "Yay, we did it!"
I hate that.
Silence. Absolute silence when that ride ended.
Yeah, it's like a funeral.
It was. It was a funeral for Ludacris and The Rock and everybody else who's involved with those films.
Eventual genius in the chat. Offhand Disney is a favorite channel of mine. I love that channel.
Yeah, there's a lot of YouTube channels that go so in depth,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Defunct Land. I love Defunct Land.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Real
yeah,
good
yeah,
stuff.
Super good.
Because I'm super into all the stuff that didn't work, like all the failed attractions that like get them out of here. They had to scrap.
Yeah.
Like the
Superstar Limo.
Superstar Limo.
Taylor's Life. Throw that one out.
The at Disneyland Tokyo.
The extraterrestrial. There was the extraterrestrial.
Well, the alien thing, yeah.
The under the Cinderella's castle.
Yeah, the
thing.
dark adventure with had a bunch of Black Cauldron theming.
Yeah, which it was super dark, and segue.
Oh, talking about dark stuff.
Speaking of dark,
I think there's some rain coming from last week.
I don't like this bit.
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. Okay. You want to do it again, just to double check?
to what?
Vibe check us,
When-
just
Just a vibe
Taylor,
check.
with
We're
the
all
sounds.
so we're all having fun. Just a quick hit.
Just a little
pass
hit
it.
of- Okay.
Pass it, bro.
So, it's been about a week since Death Stranding came out. I know you have been playing it. Jab didn't get to play it, so I didn't get to talk about it
Playing
much
it
with him last
is
week.
generous. I'm trying to play it.
Okay.
It's not a shooter.
Right,
so
you're who Kojima was talking about.
I can't play it.
Small-brained
because
American.
Small brain, no work. No, I bought a PS4 for this game.
Wow.
Yeah, I've had it for a while, and I was like, I don't want to sell it and trade it or anything because Death Stranding is going to come out. It's gorgeous. The sound design is flawless. I just can't. I get overwhelmed with micromanagement.
Okay.
And open. I am the kind of person that likes very linear games. I like very, very, very straightforward.
I
games.
mean, and me too. I will say that to an extent. And that's kind of why I like Death Stranding so much, is that I do like a little bit of freedom, but like freedom to choose, okay, here is this mission. You still have to get to point A to point B, but you can decide how you get there.
love Conan O'Brien. I love his cameo.
And so, like, it has a linear story, and it still has a point A to point B. It's just you can kind of decide how you get there. And that's what I like about it. I'm not the biggest fan of games like Fallout or Skyrim, where it's like, do whatever you want. Like,
Yeah, I can't. Like I said, it's too overwhelming.
I buy video
I don't-
games to see a narrative plot, not to make my own
Sure,
world up.
yeah.
If I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna sit in your house and we're gonna D&D.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
At that point, I'm just gonna do that. I don't need a PlayStation to do that. But to see Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen and Guillermo del Toro
And I
Nicholas
love
Winding
Mads.
Refn
I'm Mads
and Conan
cunt.
O'Brien and Jordan Vogt Roberts, and I know there's a long list of celebrities I could say.
I'm super
But to
Mads
see them, I will buy a PS4 and sit down and play this video game.
Just every time I'm not too far into the game. Every time I feel like, okay, I'm gonna picking up speed, everything's going. Oh, hey, there's this new thing you have to keep track of. Yay!
See, the only thing that's keeping me from because I've been very busy, so I think I'm just about to get to the second boss. The second boss
The
battle.
last thing I did in the game was I was going through to that wind turbine, or through that windy area.
The wind farm?
The wind farm.
Oh,
yes.
okay. You're still in
So-
the first area.
Yeah. And as I'm passing through, there's always stuff that keeps popping up.
BTs.
The BTs, and I always think I'm good, but then I'm falling and I'm having to, hold my straps.
Tripping,
and
you're falling.
I'm just,
It's a little sensory
And then-
overload for you.
I also think I took it there, and he's like, "Thanks, man. I really appreciate it." And I'm like, "Yeah. What do I get?" It doesn't feel rewarding at least from what I've experienced.
Okay.
I'm not far into the game at all.
Yeah, to me, it's like you
but
learned.
my brain isn't,
See, and that's what I learned is you learn that your reward doesn't come from who you deliver from. It's now that you deliver to this person, you can go back, and then Nicholas Winding Refn or Guillermo del Toro gives you a new gadget or something,
Okay.
or I forget the actress's name, but whoever Mama, she gives you a new thing. So then you go back, and then you get your prize.
Okay.
So you have to
Okay.
do the journey isn't just from point A to point B; it's from point A to point B back to point A.
especially since Fallen Order came out, I haven't looked at my PS4. I
Yeah,
haven't
and
touched it.
I guess segueing into Fallen
I mean, if
Order.
you have more to
and
say,
Well,
you
I
can,
guess
but-
I'll finish my thoughts on Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Not too far in. I'm only on the first boss fight. I think the only thing that's keeping me from playing it is that because it is a Hideo Kojima game, I'm scared to say I've got an hour. Let me sit down and play this, and then next thing I know, there's a 2-hour cutscene. Because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to break myself
don't
from that
mind the
immersion.
cutscenes,
Oh no,
though.
I'm
I
a
don't.
huge fan of Kojima having very long cutscenes, and I'm a big fan that the beginning of this game was just walking to cutscenes, basically. I personally love that.
I
know that's
actually did not
for
mind that
everybody.
either when it was just walking without micromanaging, and then the tragic music plays as you're walking through that
Yeah,
barren
low
area.
roar. I'm so
Yeah.
hooked on them now because of Kojima. So thanks for that.
It was very immersive. Like I said, it's just not for me. Maybe in the future, I'll get back into it and I'll
Yeah.
actually pick up Steam.
I'm hoping I have a full day this weekend to just shut everything out and just play through it, because that's my thing is I love
Do you
getting
know how long
immersed.
the game is? Do you know?
I don't. I've been trying so hard to avoid spoilers. I did just get to Conan. I did find Conan O'Brien, and he gives you an otter hat.
I know.
and it's really cute.
Like I said, I'm a pretty big Conan O'Brien fan. I'm glad that they gave him a.
So, but yeah, I love getting immersed in it. But that's the thing. When I play it, I want to sit down and play it for hours. Like it's not an easy game for me, at least, to just I'm gonna do I have done it a few times. Like I'm gonna do delivery real quick, but I only do that with like side mission deliveries.
Yeah, because
like
at the risk of getting into a cutscene that you don't.
Like
know.
right now where I stopped, I literally got to the place and they're like, "Oh, there's something weird outside. You should go check it out." I'm like, "Okay, I need like 5 hours the next time I go to play this because it's gonna be a boss battle and I'm gonna want to get to the next area and I'm gonna want to keep building the highway and doing all that." So it's great. I love it. I just voted for like every category that it got nominated for the Game Awards. Shout out to Game Awards. Go vote. Democracy. Yay. So segueing from video game to video game and to the thing that I never talk about, Star Wars. I never say anything about that.
Yeah.
So
You like Star Wars?
no peanut gallery. So I was hyping up Fallen Order, and I'm sad because I'm so hooked on Death Stranding now that I haven't gotten to play Fallen Order yet. And now
You
everyone
picked it up,
else,
though, right? You have it.
What?
You have Fallen Order.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm gonna go buy it whenever I actually I'm gonna beat Death Stranding. I'm gonna go out and buy Fallen Order. I'm gonna go play it.
So, first impressions, I think it's phenomenal. I'm having a blast,
I'm so glad,
you know.
and I'm so glad to hear that because I felt like I was the only person excited for it. Because everyone was like, EA, Battlefront was a mess when it came out, and this is going to be a mess when it comes out, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, guys, they're really good at doing Star Wars stories. Like, the Battlefront 2 story was phenomenal. This one, like, I have so much hope for it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that everyone, now that they've played it, are having the same opinion. So, I'm really excited to jump into it once I beat Death Stranding.
Yeah,
This will probably be a Christmas game for me.
I think I'm a little towards the end.
Okay.
I've tried to avoid spoilers as much as I can, but it's paced very nicely. There are times where I do get a little like, oh, where do I go? What do I do? But, you know, it's not as complex as other...
Kind of tackling it from the story aspect, too, you were talking to me how Fallen Order Fallen Order takes place right after Order 66, so right after Episode 3.
Fallen Order takes place 5 years
after Episode 3. So probably like
after
the
66.
Same time Solo is going on, almost.
Yes.
Yeah,
probably around the same time. I'm not as immersed or as in-depth in the Star Wars universe as you.
Right.
So I wouldn't be able to like know like the signals or hints that
but
like they're connected.
I'm glad there's a lot of content coming out for this era because now we've got Solo, Star Wars story, we've got Rogue One, we've got Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Rebels, which is one of my favorite shows that they did, which introduced the whole concept of the Inquisitors and everything. And I'm hearing a lot of good feedback about the villains in the game, that they're actually convincing and...
Yeah, so I came across one Inquisitor,
Okay.
or one, the sister.
Okay.
Is what they're called. And it was kind of throwing me off because she is a very huge creature, but she has a very high-pitched voice, and it was very like it threw me off a little bit. And you don't know who she is, and she just kind of pops out and it's like, we are fighting now. It's like, who are you? Okay, sure. I guess for plot reasons, I have to, but
I did hear that. I did hear that as a video game standpoint, it just throws you in. It's like, here you go.
Yeah, I expected some huge cutscene at the beginning of the game. Some huge, like, this is what you do. This is how you play. But it's like, no.
This game took a hint and is like, yeah, people have been playing video games for years.
We can figure it out.
You can go. So
yeah, like very
that's
Mega
good to
Man
hear.
10, where they just go by and you just figure it out. Or Mega Man X, pardon.
Right.
Where you just get plopped in and gotta figure it out by yourself.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Now we're waiting for a third Mandalorian episode. It seems like we're never going to run out of Star Wars content.
What day?
It's going to be Fridays. It's going to come out on Fridays, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was, it was strange because...
It came out like twice in 1 week.
It came out twice because Disney Plus came out on Tuesday, and then they're like, oh, but Mandalorian is going to come out on Friday, so we're going to also
okay.
release...
So that's... Okay.
They released the first episode basically early, just so, like, hey, it's here, and then, okay, Friday it comes out. Every Friday it's going to be out. I'm looking forward to it. Baby Yoda, obviously, is a big topic.
Yoda's race.
Yeah, Baby Yoda's race. See, it's funny because originally I was like, I hope we don't learn the name of Yoda's race, but now
want it to
everyone
be-
keeps saying Baby Yoda.
I was having a discussion with somebody last night about it.
Okay, yeah.
And it was a very in-depth discussion. It is easier for people from an, like objectively to just go, hey, it is Baby Yoda because there's only one of him. He's the only one. So like it's like, oh, to get the point across of who the character is, it's a Baby Yoda. And it doesn't necessarily mean it is a child Yoda. It is Yoda as a baby. It is just a Baby Yoda's race. It irks me a little bit due to like an elitist mentality.
Right.
But
What do you mean by that?
I don't want
What do you mean elitist mentality?
I don't want somebody to just look at the photo and then go, oh no, Yoda's a baby. And then me having to explain, like, or me feeling the need to explain.
I have that issue too because
It's just a
I was-
selfish thing for me.
Yeah.
I just feel the need to like correct somebody on that.
Have you seen the Baby Yoda memes?
Oh, totally
And they're
crazy.
cute. They're
Oh, you
cute.
threw up.
Baby Yoda's so nice.
So and that's another thing we're getting.
Yeah,
We're getting
yeah.
a new Star Wars ride,
December
tying it back
5th.
to
December 5th.
Disney
Yeah.
Imagineering and theming. The
Yeah.
theming for this ride looks so good. I heard the ride is 15 minutes long.
But not the ride, the experience.
The experience. So
It's a
including the
15
queue,
Well,
including
The-
the part of the queue that actually starts being engaging.
yes, yeah. Like, you know how like when you go through the Twilight Zone ride and the doors close? That's part of the experience.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's supposed to be the most in-depth ride, the most technically advanced ride.
I've heard it's got one of the most advanced animatronics on it. So I'm looking forward to that.
I don't know how you could top that. The
The
Na'vi.
Na'vi and James Cameron world. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So much Star Wars coming out of us. I
Yeah.
even I'm trying to keep up with all of it because I'm the Star Wars guy. So
Yes.
I even started trying to watch season 2 of Star Wars Resistance.
He showed me Star Wars Episode 2 for the first time the other day.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only Star Wars movie that I never saw. And it was the most boring thing I've been through in a while. Most boring movie to sit through.
Yeah. I fell asleep. I mean,
I
I've
fell
seen it
asleep
so
too.
many times. So
I know how it ended. But
I think once we got to like the war sequence at the end, we're just like,
I mean, I've seen that battle.
turn it off.
For,
We've
like,
seen
a
it.
while.
We know what happens. I'm tired.
But the whole time I was just like, this is ridiculous. I want to play.
I
I want to
think-
play Fallen Order.
I
It was
think
the same day
everything
Fallen Order
that
came
has
out.
been said about the prequels has been said.
Yeah.
So it's you if you've seen it, you understand.
Yeah.
I still know someone who has only seen Phantom Menace of the prequels, so they still haven't seen 2 or 3.
Leave
And-
it. Just stay. You're good.
I
You're
know.
fine.
I want to
good.
hear. I want to hear what they have to say because everyone has a different opinion of them, and it's fun
Yeah.
to hear.
I don't think 1's awful, and I don't think 3 is bad.
So Phantom Menace to me is like, yeah, there's a lot of things wrong, but what other movie is like this film? There's not another movie like that. Like, it's so unique.
That's a word.
Yeah, it is a word.
That is the word for it.
So is Phantom Menace. Those are 2 words. So, go figure. Star Wars, they released new footage in a new trailer on Instagram unannounced.
I didn't see that.
Because they released the final trailer that they said. And then on Instagram, they posted another trailer, and it's got a bunch of new shots in it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Does it have the toy Palpatine?
no, there's still no shots of Palpatine. But it does show like Kylo Ren like
You
doing
heard about
some
the
stuff.
original, like the.
Yeah, it's a hot toy figure. It's
Yeah.
the hot
No,
toy
I mean,
figure.
but did you hear about the the early screenings?
Oh,
The millions and millions of dollars that they use to reshoot parts of the movie.
I mean, I will say I'm a little worried about the new film. I hope Georgie and Mr.
JJ.
Bob Iger.
Bob Iger, yeah. Yeah, I hope Bob Iger really pulls through on this one.
I really hope that they do a good job.
His first one was very good. I hope that this one's just as good. How are we doing so far? How do you like it so far?
How do you like it so far? Yeah,
like
it's
it
Star
so far?
Wars. How do you like Star Wars? But yeah, I don't know. There's just an endless amount of Star Wars content coming out of us, and I'm glad some of it's good. That's a good thing. Half of it,
Yeah,
at least, is
Mandalorian, Fallen Order, Death
Mandalorian-
Stranding, all good Star Wars.
Yeah. Norman Reedus, Best Jedi.
Yeah, he's my favorite Jedi. Did you? I noticed that you're wearing some nice
Oh yes.
Bright
Oh yes.
yellow.
Let's show.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not synergizing too well with the green screen. So parts of it getting cast or getting kind of keyed out. But we've got a lot of brands on today. I'll go ahead and do the whole look. Starting from the head down, we've got
I'll
some
even move a little bit.
Mishka.
I'll move off to the side a little bit.
Okay. We'll
Give you some space.
We'll give you the stage after. So we've got some Mishka on top. We've got some Lazy Oaf on the shirt. Got that nice collar. Happy Sad. Always rocking the Adidas bag.
As a bit.
Nah, I'm just doing my thing. Then we've got some insert coin pants. Bam, and we're rocking the docks. The yellow docks, which actually are reflecting light a lot better and look a lot better against the green screen than the shirt does. So that's my fit. Connor, what are you rocking today? I see you got some stuff going. I'll give you the stage.
Not rocking anything too wild.
Got any brand names to drop?
Not really. I'm wearing these little shorts that have tons of little corgis on them.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm wearing the only article of clothing that I care about at all is this sweater. It's
cute.
It's the only article of clothing
It's
that I care
soft
about.
too. I have one just like it.
Yeah.
I should have worn mine.
Yeah.
We should have had matching sweaters.
Shout out Mega 64. They need it. They need it. They're struggling.
I know. Hey, but actually, some fun thing that Jab pointed out last week is that this show ends right about when Garrett's PPS goes on. So if you're a fan, you can come here to get warmed up, and then you're all hot and ready for Garrett.
We need
later in the night.
need to send Mega 64 some viewers
So,
because
Garrett-
we know they need it.
Garrett, I'm getting
Yeah.
them all hot and ready for you.
You're welcome, Garrett.
I know
What have
need
you
it.
done? What have you done?
Yeah, what have you done with your life?
Was Brian there?
Did you even have
Tell
a
Brian to go
fashion
away.
look? Did you even talk about Star Wars?
So,
Taylor,
So.
did you have an input there?
What are you wearing, Taylor?
do you think that I'm not wearing anything?
Yeah. That's what
It's a private set.
Yeah, I've got a Ralph Lauren watch, but
That's nice.
yeah. Do you guys think that Disney knows that Universal exists, or they're just so focused on creating?
Disney's too focused on owning everything.
Oh, so that's the thing is I don't think they do because Disney already owns
So,
most of Universal's
I don't-
properties.
So okay, that's what I'm saying. The Simpsons.
Oh yeah. The
Can
Simpsons.
I don't what?
how does that work?
Yeah.
Basically, Universal is stuck in limbo where
Yeah, because the Marvel section.
Yeah, so they have the
Simpsons
whole Marvel
section.
section, which they can't change. They can only keep it operational.
Don't they have like a thing with the comics? Like they're allowed to.
No, but that's the
divulge
thing.
into the-
They can't add to it. So if they wanted to put in like a new Marvel ride, no. If they wanted to put up a new sign or anything, no. Remember when the Hulk was down for a while?
Yes. Yeah.
That was only to basically maintenance it because the roller coaster was so old. Because when they put it back up, it was the same ride.
Yeah.
So they can't make any changes, and now it's the same thing with The Simpsons. And it's like, unless Universal starts making some better IPs that they can replace all these things with.
Well, their Dark Universe didn't work out.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, they have Fast and the Furious now. King Kong. I mean, also to their credit, their Hogwarts thing is doing fine. Like the Hogwarts.
Oh,
thing is-
Harry Potter's their biggest IP, probably.
It's doing okay. I've only been there.
Well, they
like
did put
12
in a
times.
new. They did put in a new Hogwarts ride.
The new ride. I was there.
Did you ride
the
it?
second day that it was open.
Oh, how is it? I haven't gotten to ride it yet.
So the ride is so sought for. Like a lot of people want to ride that ride.
Right.
So they go and they keep it going on for longer than the park is open.
Oh,
Though,
wow.
So if you're waiting in line, they'll go. They won't kick you out because you're
They'll
waiting.
just cut the line off.
So
and
they
let the
do
line
all
go
of their
through.
maintenance in the morning. So we get there right when the park opens, and they're like, "Hey, we have this little section closed off. If you want to wait for the ride, you can wait here. We don't know when it'll be open." So about 3 hours of waiting pass, and the
wow.
hot sun. It happens to be super, super hot. There's no covers. They have a fan that just kind of circles around.
For the Hagrid ride?
No, yeah, for the Hagrid ride, and we're just like, okay. And then a lot of the people are like, oh, it's gonna open in like an hour. It's gonna be 4:00, and everyone's telling us different stuff. So a bunch of people start getting out of the line, so the line technically moves forward, so we get a little closer to the front. And we're not far back. We're like 20 people back, by the way. And a bunch of people. I made some friends in the line, and they get up and leave. And then 5 minutes later, after these people leave, they're like, "Yeah, we can't wait any longer. We're here from out of town. We want to experience everything else." It opens, and they're like, "Yep, it's good. have fun. And I'm like, great, I'm going to do that. So I walk through, and we didn't get to experience a lot of the queue, like a lot of the actual queue, because our area was outside of the ride area,
Right.
Where we were waiting. So they kind of just rushed us through the queue, so I didn't get to like look forward, like look through it. It seemed cool from what I quickly experienced. The ride itself, they were promoting it as like, oh, it's like a narrative roller coaster, like. You go through, there's animatronics and stuff happens. It's the first of its kind. It's very unique. The Mummy.
It's The Mummy?
Yeah.
They were promoting it as like it was the first of its kind. Like this is the new thing. Huh. But it was like The Mummy. But
it's not a 3D glasses ride.
It's not.
Thank
God.
God.
It's a roller coaster. You sit. So
Okay.
there's two ways to sit. You can sit like a motorcycle, which is super cool. Like it is fun to ride like that. And then there's a sidecar.
Oh, okay.
So I did the motorcycle, and you go through. I don't want to spoil any of the animatronics.
Don't spoil a ride.
There's like a drop, and it goes backwards. So it's very cool. It's a very nice ride. I don't think it was worth the 5-hour wait that I had in the hot sun. In the morning. But if you're a fan, So hopefully the lines have kind of died down.
I should go get in line at the end of the day then, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like if you want to wait for it. Because later on in the day for that ride, it turned into like a 2-hour wait. And so if you're going to wait 2 hours, so might as well wait for it to be cooler.
2 hours and the ride's open.
Yeah, and the ride's going to be open. Yeah, but it was pretty nice.
So as we wrap up, I want to make an analogy to what I perceive the relationship between Disney and Universal to be.
Okay.
Is that in order at this time?
Yeah, go for it.
So I feel like Disney is like a really focused dad who's like doing accounting for his business, and then like Universal is like the kid, like the teenager. He's not like a little kid, but he's he's made like a lemonade stand outside, but the dad's just doesn't really care about his kids. You kind of get that vibe. But he also doesn't want to come across as a jerk.
And the kid will make a little bit of money. He'll make a couple dollars.
And the kid's explaining it to him, and the dad's like, oh, yeah, that's cool. And just not really taking in what's being talked about.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he gives him
and then every once in a while he'll take a sip of his lemonade.
Yeah.
He'll,
The Simpsons?
Oh,
this kind of tastes cool, bud.
This
you
is
should
cool.
show your mom this.
Well, that's the thing. He owns the lawn that the lemonade stands on.
Exactly.
And
this guy also happens to own the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Where they're selling the lemonade.
Yeah.
And the utility company.
And the utility company
provides the water.
And every vehicle around and everything that goes on there.
And he goes, you don't have to take your lemonade stand down, but you have to leave it exactly here, and you can't change anything.
Yeah, I don't want you selling on someone else's lawn.
Yeah.
No new recipes, no new flavors.
And I write the backstory for the lemonade stand.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
aliens.
I will make the lemonade. You sell it.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
That is a perfect analogy.
When life gives you lemons.
When life gives you lemons,
you get Disney
give
Plus.
dad a cut. you pay dad.
Yeah, you just cut yourself and you squeeze those lemons right on in there.
Yeah, exact. Boom.
Wow.
I mean,
Ooh,
that's what
I felt
Universal's
that
been
when you
doing.
said it.
I personally love Universal. I love Universal Studios. I think City Walk is super fun. But any last words?
Any final thoughts? I'm getting a secret note delivered to me. Islands of Adventure has theme park rights for Marvel characters, but only theme park rights. And because Disney bought Marvel, it's only those heroes, and they can just keep the whole comic section because it was already there.
Very
Wow.
eloquently
literally
put.
it.
If I could speak English.
I think I said that
No,
already.
That's literally it.
Yeah.
They can only keep it there because it's what they already have.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I said.
yeah.
Can't change anything.
You guys hear a voice in here? It's like there's almost like a fourth person. It's like a ghost.
Well, there's like a 100-person audience.
Yeah.
So.
It's like a ghost that's like obsessed with entertainment companies that are.
Yeah, exactly. Just chimes in every once in a while.
Please, I know
That's
some-
all of our
Yeah.
that's all of our crossing of cultures and boundaries and
Oh,
changing
yeah.
things up for tonight. We do it every Wednesday night, but we keep it in our lives. We keep it with our friends. We keep it real.
This is a bad ending.
It's really loud.
I was gonna give you the final word, but
Thank you.
good night.
Yes.